Welcome everyone. Thank you for joining the webinar today. My name is Hutan Ahmad and I'm part of the technical marketing team at Latitude Geographics. Today we're going to look at enhancing Web App Builder for ArcGIS with Geocortex reporting. We'll first begin by providing a quick introduction to Web App Builder for ArcGIS for those who are not familiar with what Web App Builder is. We'll then discuss the current options available around reporting in Web App Builder. We'll introduce Geocortex reporting and provide an overview of its features and capabilities. We'll also dive into a demonstration that showcases working with multiple data sources of different types. We'll finally touch on using Geocortex Workflow alongside Geocortex reporting to create a guided user interaction for generating a report all within Web App Builder. Web App Builder for ArcGIS is a lightweight viewer framework developed by Esri. It is great for quickly delivering purpose-built GIS applications using a minimum amount of configuration. It also ships with a number of out-of-the-box tools and widgets for performing common GIS operations. Web App Builder is a great tool if you need to get a WebGIS application up and running fast that's easy to configure and use. Alright, let's take a quick look at Web App Builder, review its main components, and use it to configure a basic WebGIS application. I'm going to access my organization's instance of Web App Builder Developer Edition. From here, I can create a new application. I'm choosing the default 2D option for my new web app. I'll give it a new name and optionally a description. Here we can see the basic layout of Web App Builder. I can control the look and feel of the application using the Theme tab. Here I can choose between different themes, different color styles, and different layouts. The central currency used in Web App Builder is the web map. In the Map tab, I can select the web map I'm interested in using for my application. I can choose between web maps that I've created or the ones that have been shared with me by my groups or organization or the public. I've pre-configured a web map that includes an additional tax parcels layer, which we'll see in a bit. The next tab allows me to add different widgets to my application. Widgets are basically tools that perform a function in your web application. We'll come back to the Widgets tab later in the webinar. Finally, the Attribute tab allows the opportunity to further customize the look and feel of your web application and apply your branding to it. After saving the web app, we can launch it in a separate window and check out the navigation. Zooming in, we can see the tax parcels layer that I configured in my web map showing up. We can also toggle its visibility in the layer list. Let's select a couple of parcels and view their details. That's great. Now, what if I want to show that parcel data in a PDF report for my users? What if I want to create reports for use within Web App Builder? Well, you have the option of creating a custom report for your application using the Web App Builder API. You'll need to create a template-based widget using Dojo Digit. You'll then work with the report class in the API to develop a custom report. Of course, creating custom applications requires you to have experienced developers in your staff that are familiar with working in Esri's ecosystem, or the budget to hire a team of consultants instead. You'll also need to have the infrastructure and expertise to both maintain and upgrade the custom application you've built as your needs evolve or as Esri's underlying technology changes. This can lead to spending a significant amount of time, money, and effort just to create one custom report for your web app. Okay, maybe I don't want to develop a custom application. Maybe I don't have developers in my staff or the budget or infrastructure or the expertise to create and maintain custom application. I want a reporting application that integrates seamlessly with Web App Builder without any custom work. There's got to be an easier way. Well, luckily, now there is. We've developed a brand new product called Geocortex Reporting 5 for creating beautiful, production quality, printable reports with spatial data, non-spatial data, maps, and charts. Geocortex Reporting 5 features a clean and intuitive design experience with simple drag-and-drop functionality right in your web browser. It includes a wide range of ready-made controls and it requires no coding to configure your reports. Geocortex Reporting 5 features a broad range of tools for data aggregation, manipulation, and display. And it of course includes charting capabilities for visual representation of your data. Geocortex Reporting 5 is purpose-built for use in ArcGIS. That means it consumes ArcGIS layers and tables as well as ArcGIS web maps, alongside external SQL data sources. Being built for ArcGIS also means that all authentication, storage, and permissions for Geocortex Reporting 5 are managed through your ArcGIS accounts. That's enough talk. Let's see Geocortex Reporting 5 in action. To access Geocortex Reporting 5, simply navigate to geocortex.com/reporting and scroll down to the licensing and pricing section. Here you'll find the option to try reporting in the cloud or to download the on-premise version. That's right, Geocortex Reporting 5 is offered both as a SaaS product and on-premise. One example of when you'd want to use the on-premise version of the product is when you're interested in connecting to a data source that's behind a firewall, like a SQL server that's only accessible internally. Let's try the SaaS version. This is the designer experience for Geocortex Reporting. As you can see, it's all web-based and I'm authenticated using my ArcGIS identity. Let's add a new ArcGIS data source to our designer. I can give the data source a name and a service URL. In this scenario, we're interested in connecting to the street map server, which contains the tax parcels layer. Now that we have our data source set up, we can create a new report using the layer report wizard. We select our data source and specify the tax parcels layer to query. Just like that, a basic report is created. We can immediately begin to configure the report by giving it a title. The appearance of all report elements are customizable. Let's add some labels and some data fields that are dynamically retrieved from our ArcGIS data source to the design surface. We can then resize all of these elements and bands to suit our requirements. Once we have all the fields that we need, we can add a feature map to the bottom of our band that will highlight the selected parcel. We can see that it's pointing to a generic ArcGIS Online base map, but we can customize it to point to our own web maps instead if we wanted. Next, we want to provide a default value for our feature ID parameter so we can test the report within the designer itself. Let's add 983, which is the object ID for one of the parcels in our tax parcels layer. Now we can save the report by giving it a name, and launch a preview of the report right in the design. Here we can see that our city field is actually a city and state field, so let's make our modification and generate another preview. Looks good. Once we're happy with how our report looks, we can deploy it to our web application. Our report definition is saved as an item in ArcGIS Online. From ArcGIS Online, we can adjust the permissions on the report. Let's share this one with the public. In order to deploy the Reporting 5 widget to ArcGIS Online, you'll need to perform a one-time deployment of the reporting package. The reporting files and deployment instructions can be found in the Info tab of the Report Designer. Our Web App Builder instance, Developer Edition, is already set up with reporting. So to deploy our report to it, all we have to do is navigate to the Widgets tab and select Reporting. Next, we can give our report a name and dynamically fetch the report definition from our ArcGIS Online account. Finally, we'll want to associate our report with the tax parcels layer, which was included in the web map. Then we can save and launch our site again. To run the report in our site, we will select a parcel of interest and using the Options menu, select Run Report. We can then select our report parcel and kick off the report generation process. Once the report is ready, we can view the generated PDF. Let's try it again for a different parcel. That was a good simple example. Let's look at a more complicated real-world scenario. The Massachusetts Department of Transportation was interested in creating a road inventory year-end report, which required aggregation of data from both a map server and a SQL server. Their road data was so immense that they developed stored procedures for aggregation of data for internal use. We developed a report for them that queried the map service for the first section of the report, as well as a sub-report that connected directly to the stored procedures on the SQL server. The result is a robust and performant report that is able to fetch data from multiple data sources. Here we see it running in the designer. As well as in the web application. As we saw, Geocortex reporting on its own in Web App Builder is great, but what if it's not immediately obvious to my users how they're supposed to launch a report? Is there a way that I can provide instructions to them or to create a more guided end-user interaction? That's where Geocortex Workflow comes in. By leveraging Geocortex Workflow, you can extend your Web App Builder application by turning sophisticated business processes into simple, guided end-user interactions, all without the use of custom development. And the best part is you can use Geocortex Workflow to launch Geocortex reports. You can create the complete end-to-end guided user interaction with workflow and reporting within Web App Builder. Let's go back to our Massachusetts DOT example and see if we can upgrade the user experience by using Geocortex Workflow. The idea is for the user to select a town and run the report for that town's data. Let's give the user the option of searching for a town or selecting it on the map with a tool. This is the design experience for Geocortex Workflow 5. Just like Geocortex reporting, the designer for Geocortex Workflow is also web-based. You can see the workflow logic laid out in a flowchart manner. Each of the activities in that flowchart are from the toolbox to the left of the design surface. The display form is the main method for interacting with the user within Workflow. Looking at the first display form we've configured, we can see we've defined a text box with autocomplete, as well as a geometry picker for the user to select a town with. We've also included radio buttons at the top to determine the visibility of these options to the user, depending on their choice. Based on the user selection, we can continue down the flowchart and query the town boundary map service, using the selected geometry. In the next design form, we present the selected town to the user and provide them the option of launching a report for it. Our pre-configured report is then run with input parameters, and the final display form presents the user with a link to view or download the completed report. Similar to the report widget, we've added the workflow widget to our web application. We can launch the workflow and use it to search for a city, view the selection, and generate the report for that city. We can also use our workflow to select a city by geometry, in this case, the city of Boston, and generate the 162-page report for it. By now, you might be wondering, how can I get my hands on this? Simply go to geocortex.com/reporting and kick off your 60-day trial in the cloud or on-premises. If you'd prefer a more customized demonstration of the product or an opportunity to ask technical questions, fill out the demo form on the site and a member of our team will be sure to reach out to you. All the information you need to get started with Reporting 5 can be found in our online documentation center at docs.geocortex.com. The Geocortex community is a great place to ask questions and contribute to discussion about our 5 series products. You can find it at communities.geocortex.com. Thank you for joining me today for this webinar. I hope you now have a much better idea of the different ways you can enhance your experience with Web App Builder by using Geocortex Reporting and Geocortex Workflow. If you have any questions or would like more information, feel free to reach out to me directly or by contacting info@latitudegeo.com. Catch you next time.